Greetings, my good bitches. The name's Francis, QueenCokeFrancis. I'm an editor, Twitch streamer, drag artist, and I'm here because, honestly, where are the goddamn Phantom Thieves when you need them? I'd wanted to make this video for a while, but I decided to put it off until I got a tattoo of my own. Because who would I be to sit here in my ivory tower and judge an art form that I had never experienced myself, to not even know how it felt to get a tattoo? But that day has finally come because I, QueenCokeFrancis, officially became a choker bro for life a few weeks ago. I absolutely love it. I am so happy I got it, and my artist is insanely talented. Check out Eva Eid on Instagram. I could not recommend her more if you're in the LA area and you're looking to get the cutest tattoo of your entire life. So now that I'm clearly an expert on the subject, I can finally showcase my collection of my favorite Trump-Tastic tattoos. And I don't mean Pete Kegsbreath's little hotsy-totsy Nazi tattoos that had actually initially flagged him as a security threat, but now they're practically a prerequisite to prove your loyalty to Mr.
Stand back and stand by.
The folks we'll see today didn't get their Trump-Tastic tattoos for a coveted spot in the cabinet. No. They simply did this for the love of the game. Because I live in a very normal country where people theme their tattoos and shops and restaurants, birthday parties, weddings, fashion shows, religion, or any other aspect of their lives around a guy who spews tonsil stones during his State of the Union. Because apparently wanting Donald Jessica Trump to penetrate you still counts as a personality in the big 2026. Full transparency, and I don't mind telling you this because I know you guys are super cool. My ADHD has been really bad this week, and I take meds for it, and I've learned to manage it semi-decently, but as the ADHD homies out there can tell you, there are times where the prefrontal cortex becomes what I like to call the full frontal cortex, and then the chaos neurons just render you unable to do literally anything for an indefinite amount of time. There are a couple other more complex, I guess, grander ideas that I had for videos this week, but they never quite came together the way I wanted them to because my brain has been in I have 6 ideas and here's the third one mode like all week. So this is just gonna be a chill video where we have a nice hearty laugh at life commitments to a literal criminal who's currently falling apart death becomes her style. Another thing to keep in mind when we look at these, tattoos are not cheap, especially color ones. They can cost upwards of thousands of dollars. Chances are I would blow all of my money on more cute tattoos like this one if my personalized spending budget didn't keep me in check, which I was able to create with the help of today's sponsor, Rocket Money. Rocket Money gives you a bird's eye view of your finances in a single easy-to-use app. By securely linking your bank accounts, Rocket Money automatically categorizes your transactions so you can see where your money's going at all times. Whether you're trying to cancel subscriptions that you've forgotten about, or wanting to grow your savings, or simply trying to get on top of your finances, Rocket Money is the best accountability buddy when it comes to monitoring your spending habits. You can create a customizable budget in seconds, and the app will provide personalized insights on how you can manage your money better. So you can only imagine my surprise when I suddenly received a notification for a $1,000 purchase. Was someone about to get one of those tattoos with my money? Thankfully, Rocket Money provides real-time alerts for suspiciously large transactions like this one, so I was able to nip that issue in the bud. So that tattoo will never see the light of day, at least not with my money. Additionally, Rocket Money will notify you about upcoming charges or renewals to help you avoid overdrafts and late fees. It's one app with an entire dashboard to monitor your financial health. So go to rocketmoney.com/queen to start your free premium trial. You can also scan the QR code right next to my very handsome face, or just click the link in the description. And with that, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Let's kick this off with our first category: conversation starters and icebreakers. At best, these tattoos will spark questions. At worst, these tattoos will spark questions. We'll start with this one that you may have already seen. This is British OnlyFans model and influencer Rain Monroe, who got this forehead tattoo as a publicity stunt back in 2024. Turns out all 17K of her followers didn't give her the exact type of attention she ordered, so her account is now defunct and she's looking to get the tattoo removed. But honestly, I think people were overly harsh on this girl. As you can see, she's already got the MAGA Barbie makeover. It's the American McMansion version of fascist Italy's new Italian woman movement. Every woman who transitions into the carbon copy beauty queen that Trump loves might as well just get his name stamped across their forehead. But she did it for social media attention, whereas this guy's commitment to the president rivals Daniel Day-Lewis's borderline insufferable MO of method acting. This scene in the background is from Gangs of New York, where his anti-immigrant white supremacist character is monologuing about the importance of fear as a control tactic while he's wrapped himself in an American flag. Cinema. Absolute cinema. Moving down the body yaddy yaddy, here's a neck tattoo that's sure to get some conversations going, such as, holy shit dude, I thought someone slit your throat, but this is actually so much worse. This one's got all sorts of fun stuff going on. Great crossover with what appears to be a reference to the Mexican flag, paired with what I assume is a reference to his border wall, but set in the universe of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Do you think this person got this tattoo because they're actually an AC/DC fan, or did they just like the little lightning bolt in the center of the name? At the very least, he's depicted seemingly burning in the fiery depths of hell, where he belongs. We've definitely got to return to the traditional tattoo style with this next one, and I think it can be interpreted in two ways. The straightforward way, in that this person is a rapist or a rape apologist and wants everyone to know that. Or, and hear me out on this is a satirical tattoo meant to convey the grotesqueness of this human specimen, which is why they gave him this pig's nose ear, or these Nanny McPhee teeth, and several chins that all look like varying stages of testicular cancer. Do comment down below and tell me what you think. Now, to be fair, it can't exactly be easy to find a self-respecting tattoo artist to design these for you. This is one of those cases where generative AI is the perfect option for you. All your artist has to do is print a stencil and get to work, and swallow their pride. Before you know it, you'll have a lifelong tribute to this goat with a cursed comb over, and a machine gun, and broken handcuffs, and it'll say deep state. Can't wait to see this guy at the voting booth. This next one, I'm not quite sure what's happening here. But again, that's the point. These are meant to spark conversations and questions, such as, why is he a sloth? Why is he slicing through your arm? Why did I think this plane was a marionette cross brace for the first, I don't know, 5 minutes that I looked at it? Before we get into our next section, I'd like to take just a brief break from all this Trump glazing and take a look at some other masterpieces in the same extended universe, like this Tom MacDonald tribute that I'm certain I've seen on t-shirts at Venice Beach, the ones white guys at my high school would wear after smoking weed exactly once. I am not Republican, I am not a liberal, why the hell can't I just be American without getting political? I don't know, Tom, maybe you should stop collaborating with Ben Shapiro if that's your real issue here. But be honest with yourself. We both know you're raking in millions from white people who want to listen to rap but are too afraid of cities to do so. And finally, we have... oh my god, Vivian, if you're watching this, I am so sorry. This bold statement. My favorite part of this, aside from the 420 down here and neural link, are the bloodshot K-hole eyes after a long night of getting bullied out of Path of Exile chat rooms. How long until he gets X tattooed on his face, do you think? Next category is no thoughts, just him. Here are some beautiful, down-to-earth portraits that you'll be sure to cherish for a lifetime. This one must be pretty recent because it includes the post-stroke mouth droop that debuted last September. Here's our president depicted as a King of the Hill character. I've seen far too many chuds on the internet insist that Hank Hill would have voted for Trump, which not only tells me that they've never seen the show, but as my brilliant friend Fifi Dosh said, my man Hank Hill would not vote for a New Yorker who likes well-done steaks. Check out her YouTube channel. She does one-woman readings of Star Trek fanfic and is one of the funniest people on this goddamn hell planet. Here's an interesting artistic rendering, very avant-garde. It's giving fascist Picasso. And one thing I noticed, aside from the shading here looking like the La Brea tar pits, is how much fresher the ink appears where it says guilty. I doubt this is the case, but I'd like to imagine that this person got the portrait with not underneath and then got guilty later once it was revealed that he, was just out here trying to get Trump some orange, ha ha ha. Hashtag Trump mugshot, hashtag Trump, hashtag Donald Trump, hashtag my favorite felon, hashtag gangster, hashtag gangsta, hashtag NWA. Please don't bring NWA into this. The only thing about this I support is that he's subjecting what looks to be a newish tattoo to direct sunlight, which is a surefire way to get it to fade as quickly as possible. Regardless of who you were voting for in this election, you cannot deny that this tattoo is phenomenal. This was the first session. We can't wait to have this patriot back in to finish Mr. Trump up so he's looking his best before the election. Wait, this isn't finished? What else is there to add? A full body shot with the cankles, touching up the right eye cataract that you gave him? Anyway, I'd like to close this section with this beautiful chest piece, featured on today's episode of our nationwide Find Out phase. This is a Cuban podcaster who goes by the name El Oski, and like the owner of Trump Burger down in Texas, is currently experiencing the patriotic version of finding out the stripper does not actually like you. Oski came to the US in 2019 and was hit with an I-220A, which prevented him from applying for residency per the Cuban Adjustment Act. So while he isn't getting outright deported, he will remain in immigration limbo indefinitely. And this pick-me's confidence in getting picked is dwindling. As he put it, quote, I thought Trump was going to help people like me, Cubans who supported him, but now I see what's happening, and I'm scared of being deported. Okay. This leads into our next category. They're calling it the fastest healing year of all time. Sorry, my Trump impression is not very good. There's literally only like one impression that I can do, and it's Milhouse from The Simpsons. Say the line, Bart. Boy, that ear really healed quickly, didn't it? Especially for a guy with kidney disease, congestive heart failure, frontotemporal dementia, and possible lymphoma who's also receiving regular blood transfusions. But don't mind me, I'm just another silly little conspiracy-minded, tiny-brained leftist who can't recognize greatness when it's in front of me. It doesn't matter that I worked in performing arts and understand how stage direction and blocking and blood capsules all work, you silly sailors. We've got a nice little minimalist piece here. The thing that bothers me the most about this is that this person has clearly never moisturized in their life and probably went out drinking the night before. But we really gotta give props to these realism pieces. Like this one where he has a Colonel Sanders mustache for some reason. I like this one because everything is in black and white, and the only colors here are the colors that matter. The flag and the same shade of red from that totally very real bullet wound on his face. I always forget that it allegedly grazed his face, just cause there's literally zero scarring on it. I have a scar from a spider bite on my leg from 3 years ago. But hey, he's just built different in many different ways. Here's the same picture with a more modern stroke of the pen. The wound here looks like a bit of an afterthought on the artist's part, but to be fair, that is how it looked in real life. Here's an extra fresh one right next to this tattoo of, I think Bob Marley. It's just as fresh as the very real blood from that very real bullet wound on his very face. We've all ran out of room on a happy birthday sign, right? Of course we have. John Mulaney has a whole bit about it. And tattoo artists are only human. But as artists, sometimes they need to get creative. This artist very well could have given this man a Trump tattoo for life. But thanks to this artist's ingenuity, he'll still be able to have the Trump tattoo that he wanted. I mean, it does still say Trump, but hey, if you actually notice that, that's because you're staring at a man's arm for way too long, and that's gay. I call this next category versions of Trump he would deport. I unironically love these, and that's because I can't tell which ones were gotten ironically. Starting off with this one, lots going on here. The Bitcoin logo on the forehead. Self-made, 2020. Another goat. Oh, is that... Are all the goats supposed to be a reference to him being the goat? God, okay, yeah, I guess that tracks. To be fair, Trump is more of a criminal than any garden variety gangbanger ever could be. If you ain't doing what's in those files, you better step your pussy up. The mob couldn't even begin to tread these waters. Vegas went downhill ever since the mobs left and Trump's corporate donors took over. And just look at this next one. Look at it. The devil horns, the Mickey Mouse hands throwing the blood signs. Beautiful. Just look at the attention to detail on this one. We've got a face tat with everyone's favorite line by him. The one that got him elected in the first place. Actually, we've got a Trump train up here. Remember that slogan from my Trump-Tastic birthday parties video? This detail of the train smoke forming what I think says fake news. This is what separates the good artists from the greats. I especially love the inclusion of Kim Jong-un over here. He's riding his little nuke that says Little Rocket Man, and I'd like to close this section with my personal favorite from it. Da Vinci's been real quiet ever since this dropped. First of all, love me a fellow Animaniacs fan. Second of all, I agree with every message here. F the rules. ACAB. And most importantly, we don't talk to police. These are messages I would pass on to my children if I had them. Would you not do the same? It's gonna be hard to top those, but we'll do our best to with our next category. Graphic design is my passion. This one is self-explanatory. Not everyone can shell out top dollar for a tattoo, and that's okay. If you're lucky, you might be able to score a discount, like this artist offering 20% off all patriotic tattoos today only. By today only, they mean they've only done tattoos today only. I know I rip on conservatives all the time because they're bad at making movies, or music, or art, or even event planning, but it turns out, you guys, they're also really bad at tattoos. Like this little guy who I hadn't seen since I stumbled upon that cursed bobblehead collection in an Orange County antique store. Too bad Thanos couldn't snap this guy out of existence. Here's another depiction of the fastest ear healing of all time, but I included it in this section because I'm not sure what's going on down here. At first I was like, okay, maybe they wanted the focus to be on him, so they gave this Secret Service guy a more minimalist aesthetic, which is why he kind of looks like Donald Ferguson from Invincible. But it looks like not only did the artist not finish the tattoo, they just sort of stopped. Here are some actual progress photos. Now, tattoo stencils are usually pretty simplistic because they're mostly just for line work, and most of the shading and colors come in after unless it's something specific. Take mine, for example. But my favorite part of this is how this artist just didn't go beyond that, like at all. The stencil said to do this, so I did this. But like, they also didn't even do that. For this artist, stencils are merely a suggestion suggestion. Giving Trump a ghoul nose from Fallout is called creativity, sweetie. I had tried to forget about that weird stunt where he hugged a flag for some reason, until this tattoo reminded me that sometimes it is okay to make fun of dementia patients. I'm not sure what this giraffe patterning in the background is, but that's fine. I like giraffes. Need covered ASAP. Please tag professional tattoo artist in the area. No hate comments. I'll do my best. Next category is that's clever. Sure, MAGA can't do comedy, but who says they can't do wordplay? Like this Trump stamp. Get it? I'm not sure what all this, I don't know, soot down here is doing. Maybe that's where they were originally gonna put it. Apparently that's a super painful place for AMAB people to get tattooed, though. I mean, how far are you willing to go to prove your loyalty? This really is a Trump stamp in every sense of the word, though, because it looks like an actual cattle brand of his name, and it's framed by those mid-aughts tribal-ish patterns that every white person had for some reason. Here's one that says, "Keep on trumpin'" in a groovy font. Get it? I know this is a reference to something, but I'm not sure what it is, because I'm not a boomer, so if anybody would like to know, please do so politely in the comments. That would really help a bro out. And the final entry in this category is ROTC Bullwinkle? I know these are supposed to be army shoes or whatever, but they look more like fracture walking boots. But here at the bottom, we have the two greatest organizations on Earth intersecting, because of course they are. What this next category lacks in quantity is made up for in cringe. Jesus would have flipped tables, and you would have deported him. If I was this guy's artist, I would be so paranoid about popping a vein in his arm. It looks like they managed, though, and this guy finally has a tattoo that matches this exact type of beard. You might have seen this next one, because it apparently made the rounds on the internet, and it says Jesus, Trump, everything. The T in everything is, of course, a cross, just like the one she probably has in her Instagram bio, where she leaves comments on ground news posts about how Alex Pretty should have just complied. Trump is actually in the colors of the French flag, but that doesn't matter. America, red, white, and blue. Only America all the time ever is red, white, and blue, and nobody else. The S at the end was definitely an afterthought. I genuinely do not think it was in the original design. But our artist was like, hey, maybe you wanna pretend to look like you can read? This next category is called Wish He Was Still Here, but only to see this. That's right, good bitches. I included some beautiful tributes to the one and only Carly Chirk as well. I do wonder what he would have thought of this one, because I genuinely can't tell. He seemingly didn't mind being spoofed on South Park. Maybe he'd get a kick out of this one. I don't know. Unfortunately, it's all downhill from here. This guy took his Kirkian tribute a bit more seriously with his beloved microphone. Do you think they buried him with it Egyptian style? And if so, what else did they include with the microphone? Do let me know in the comments below. This one almost ended up in the graphic design is my passion category, but again, I wanted to be respectful. I truly wish he could see this depiction of himself with these Faith Hill breasts, and is that a clownfish? That can't possibly be a football that he's holding, right? I stared at this for so long trying to figure out what this was that I almost forgot about this masterpiece, Charlie and the late great XXXTentacion. And by great, I mean he low-key wasn't. God, I wish he could be here to see him sharing a face with a black person. Relax, guys. His only reaction would be hoping that he's qualified. I've been enjoying not having to look at Trump's face for a while, so let's move on to another fun category. Tattoos that last longer than the actual Confederacy. I mean, that's the understatement understatement of the century. I have mascara bottles that lasted longer than the Confederacy. I didn't realize they made nutcrackers like this. Are they like special edition or something? Just asking for my Midwest friends who collect them. This is exactly what their collections are missing. Here's one that I immediately think of when I imagine a Confederate tattoo. Stand for the flag, kneel for the cross. This is the first time I've ever wanted to burn a cross myself. This person is no stranger to burning crosses, I'm sure, but only because they can't afford a space heater or a tattoo artist who can spell. Here's a very ambitious crossover. Imagine seeing this horror show when you're topping this guy. And by horror show, I mean the soul of this poor screaming woman trapped for eternity in this man's Confederate monster tattoo purgatory. So one of my favorite things about this being my job is that I learn something new with every video that I make. And with this video, I learned about the existence of Confederate Tinkerbell tattoos. Apparently, the Confederate Tinkerbell is a genre of tattoo. This one is probably the highest quality one I found, followed by this nearly identical one, this seemingly Debbie Thornberry inspired one, and of course, this precious baby girl right here. I didn't think it was possible, but I think this artist actually found a way to disrespect the Confederate flag. A true American hero. And finally we have, oh boy, you know what? I would rather top the monster guy, actually. I know this one doesn't actually include a Confederate flag, but it says the same message. It's a tattoo that says, "What do you mean Facebook won't let me be in a relationship with my sister?" This guy's got a family wreath. Speaking of nightmare bottom rotation, this next category is called Preserving Your Virginity to Own the Libs. Because nothing says I've definitely touched a boob like Trump wearing a biggie crown and saying "fuck your feelings." How dare you stand where he stood. This one is just more proof that they really do want a king, preferably one that can bend them over so they can show off tattoos like this one. Here's the obligatory chuds who missed the point of the Punisher tattoos. I swear, these people are so goddamn predictable. I feel like I'm repeating myself when I make videos about these people, that I'm preaching to the choir, that this is all old news, and yet here we are. I think this is supposed to say FAFO here, but when I kept glancing over at it when I was writing this script, my dyslexic ass kept reading this as either fried or filled. Either way, all three are appropriate. It's a tattoo that says, "Why did they have to make Metal Gear Solid so political? Does this offend you?" Yes! Yes, it does! A better question would be, does it offend you? You're the one who has to live with it for eternity. You mad bro? Yes! Yes, I am. This country is currently in ruins because a couple of pussies who got their shit rocked in boxing matches told you to go out and vote for a confirmed pedophile and 34-time felon because you'll do anything but go to therapy, and you decided you needed a bunch of posers to tell you how you should feel about your life and the people in it. A better question would be, why aren't you mad? But I know, follow-up questions aren't exactly your strong suit. Neither is the art of tattooing for whoever made this jolly guy. At least they spelled politically incorrect, correctly. Joke's on you all. Spelling is woke propaganda. Before we reach our final category, here is a little something for the outsiders. At least it's not just MAGA. I get asked all the time, "Francis, why do you always have to go after the Trumpers? Can't you go after anyone else?" I would love nothing more. The problem, you see, is that nobody else on the planet worships the president the way you guys do. For as deeply unoriginal as you are, you did start the trend of bizarre cultish worship of politicians. But thankfully, I found just a little sliver of light right at the end of Kristi Noem's vaginal canal with cringy tattoos that aren't from Trumpers, like this one of Kamala Harris. Finally, I have waited so long to find something like this from the left. God, how embarrassing for you. Mostly because it's a terrible tattoo, but I wonder how many other people out there have tattoos of people who were only vice presidents. Like if someone had an Al Gore one, or a Dick Cheney one. And it gets better, you guys. We're going multinational. Like this absolute masterpiece of Nigel Farage from the UK's Reform Party. That's, not how faces should be. UK viewers, is Nigel Farage in any way connected to the snowflake discourse? I can't imagine any other reason for the snowflake framing here, unless they were just going for a wintertide aesthetic or whatever it's called over there. Sorry, UK viewers. And our final entries in this category are protest tattoos. This one's inked in one of the most painful spots to get a tattoo, so that's how you know they were serious about this. And it says, "Trump is not my f***ing president." And that's all fine and good, and I agree, but you still got his name tattooed onto you for like forever. Same with this one of the Trump baby balloon. Like, yeah, stick it to him, but also you did get a Trump tattoo. You know what I mean? God, finding self-owns on your own side of the political spectrum is like finding a four-leaf clover. I should buy a lotto ticket today. And because I'd like to end this video on a positive note in these extremely trying times, our final category actually goes kinda hard. Ironically or unironically, kicking this section off strong with this insane clown posse crossover. Passover? Is there a Juggalo version of a Passover Seder where they drink 4 bottles of cotton candy Faygo instead of wine? Sorry, I told you my ADHD was really bad this week. This one goes absolutely insane. Trump actually has this many holes in his head, so all they really had to do here was add the hair and the ballsack chin. He's of course got rockets flying overhead, the classic wall behind him. My only complaint is that they could have worked more of the SpongeBob motifs into the background. You know what I mean? Make the rockets look like Sandy's rocket that SpongeBob and Patrick took for a joyride. Make the wall look like the brick one that Squidward put between him and SpongeBob because he thought SpongeBob was going to explode after eating a pie that was also a bomb. God, what I wouldn't have given to be in the writer's room the day they pitched that episode. Here's another Kirkian tribute. This one goes harder than any of the Charlies we've seen so far, in my opinion, confirming that he was, in fact, the one responsible. I mean, if he wasn't, then why would this guy get this tattooed on his back forever? I mean, duh. As the tramp stamp suggests, this is what peak male performance looks like. Hey, men, what's stopping you from looking like this? And last, but certainly not least, y'all. I know this wasn't his intention, given the Biden hat that he's wearing in this picture, but I would give literally anything for Homelander to, point them eye lasers in a specific direction. Now, I know what you're thinking. Francis, Homelander is practically a Trump allegory. They'd probably love each other. Au contraire, I actually think they'd hate each other. Yes, they're both malignant narcissistic sociopaths who see the entire human race as beneath them, but I think that's exactly why they wouldn't get along. Let's talk about this though, because obviously Homelander could absolutely rock Trump's shit with no problem whatsoever. But for those of you who have seen the show, one thing that you may or may not have noticed about Homie is that he never kills people who aren't afraid of him. Why do you think he hasn't killed any member of the boys? Why do you think he hasn't killed any member of the Seven who doesn't constantly suck up to him? Maybe it's the narcissism, maybe it's the dementia, but I don't think Trump would even be remotely fazed by Homelander. And that alone would make him quake in his little red boots. And homie could physically overpower Trump, but Trump could verbally overpower Homelander because he has the power of God, anime, and most importantly, language on his side, specifically playground insults. Trump could call him Spandex John on Truth Social, and I think that would be enough to put Homelander in his place. I really do. Look, Stan Edgar called him bad product, and Miss Thing never recovered from that. Sorry, I told you my ADHD was really bad this week, which is why I really appreciate you sticking with me regardless, and for making it to this point in the video. And before I get into the winning comments from the last one, I'd just like to remind you all of something very, very important, and that is... your butts look fantastic today. North by North says, can't wait for you to rank the looks at the divorce proceedings. Nuclear Whale 366 says, I used the Francis chatbot and it immediately started calling me homophobic slurs. It's crazy how realistic AI is getting. Ashes2 Ashley 230 says, the shredded wedding dress is meant to represent all the Epstein documents destroyed. You too could be featured in the next video. Leave a comment below. I will pick my favorite ones and give you a shout out next time. But if you'd like to guarantee your name be featured at the end of every video, please consider joining my Patreon. If you join any of the membership tiers that are conveniently named after Fallout protagonists, your name will be mentioned at the end of every video. You might also get other cool stuff like access to my Discord, behind the scenes content on how I make my wigs, ad-free and uncensored versions of my videos. So if you love my content and my drag, you can support this channel directly by clicking the link to my Patreon in the description box. If you would like to see me simp for my favorite game characters and get visibly frustrated in real time, please follow me on Twitch. But if you have better things to do on the weekends, you can catch my favorite streams on my brand spankin' new gaming channel, QueenCokeFrancis Live. I post new streams there weekly, and you can watch parts 1 through 6 of my Date Everything playthroughs right meow. And if you'd like to see even more of my clown mug elsewhere, please consider following me on Instagram or Bluesky. My handle for all of the above is @QueenCokeFrancis. If you enjoyed this video and you haven't done so already, please pick the weird politician worship tattoo of your choice. And when your artist asks you where you want it, truly prove your loyalty to the president by going ahead and unzipping your pants and dick slapping those like and subscribe buttons as hard as you can. Thank you again to Rocket Money for sponsoring this video, and thank you to all my patrons and subscribers who keep this channel going. And of course, as always, until next time.